Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at Heroclix, more specifically some of the rule changes. This is more a video for new players. If there are veterans watching it, or maybe you don't need this like other players do, please still give it a watch. Let me know if I've missed anything. Let me know if there's any other interactions you think would help new players. Drop them in the comments below and let's sort of create a discussion. This one is in particular on speed powers. I'm going to do attack, defense and damage, and then just take a look at the rule changes in all, just to try and give new players some guide on how to get into the game. So without further ado, let's get into the first speed power, Flurry. Now this says close, make up to 2 close attacks. Now there's a few things to note here. One of the most important things I would say you can do in Heroclix is learn what a close, what a range, what a power, and what a free is. So in this example it says close, so we're going to take a close action. Now, other abilities such as charge will set. I'm going to jump forward slightly just so we can compare this and you can learn the terminology, because Heroclix is very heavy on that. So charge says power, half speed, move, then close as free. So it says you can do a close action as free. Now, Flurry is a close action. That means we can combine charge and Flurry. I will say Heroclix has done a very good job in this in linking up most abilities. So if you want to charge and do something, if you want to run in shot and do something, you can normally do it now. A lot more powers combo than they used to. I remember when I started playing, it was really difficult to know which did and which didn't. But learning stuff like the terminology, what a close attack is, what a close action is, makes it a lot easier. Next up, one of the changes is to leap climb. Now this ability used to help you escape, it used to help you scale buildings. You can move past characters if you need to get past them, you can go up buildings, you can go over outdoor blocking. But instead of it being a power action in your turn, it's a passive now. So for example, if you charge with leap climb, I'm not sure how many figures actually have that combination, but if they do, you could use the ability of leap climb to charge and move past stuff. So now it's a passive, it is a lot better. I never used leap climb before. Now it can just apply to stuff. So when you're trying to do more, I would say more powerful stuff, so like charge, hypersonic, this does apply. Then we've got phase and teleport, which is pretty much leap climb, but you have to do a move action to do it. So it's not a passive, so it is, I'd say it's slightly worse than leap climb now. You can move through characters and ignore characters, which is a bonus to get around. It makes sense. It's thematic to teleporting around, phasing around. But I do think it's, because of the improvement on leap climb, this is sort of a forgotten power now. Earthbound Neutralized was another one that they've changed, and for the better. It was very confusing what you actually lost before. I think you lost all your ability symbols, you lost some powers, you lost flight. It was a little more confusing. Now, basically it says you lose any improved movement or targeting abilities, which makes sense. So if you can run over buildings, you can't do that anymore if you're Earthbound. Stuff like that. It fits the name more. It's more thematic. It's more easy to understand. A player can see that. Scroll down, just go to improved abilities. Check what they actually lose, and it's easier to do now. It's easier for players, and it's easier to read. Then we've got charge, one of the better movement abilities. It says power, half speed, move, then close as free. This video is for new players, so let's break it down a little more. So basically it says power. So a power action means you're going to give your character a token. You're doing this instead of a close, instead of a range. You can still do free actions. Free actions are something that you can do along with other actions. So you're going to give a power action. You will half your movement speed. Now, it is always replace, then modify. So, for example, you've got 13 charge. You would half that, rounding up, so you'd get 7. And then if you perplex it, you would get 8 or 9 if you do 2 perplexes. So it wouldn't be like you perplex twice, so it goes to 15, then halves to 8. You replace the amount, so you half, and then you add your modifications, your perplexes and stuff. That's another one. It's quite important to remember that. It does help a lot. It means you can get those extra steps in. So yeah, that's sort of the golden rule. Replace, then modify. So yeah, like we said before, it says you can do your move, half speed, and then you make a close as free. So you can do your flurries, you can do your quakes, you can do all that good stuff. You can blades, anything you've got in combination with that. This is why charge is one of the better powers. You do want characters, I would say, that have charge, hypersonic, running shot, something that means you're able to move and attack in the same turn. If they're your attacker, so if they're your big character, you can have support figures which just move around and help. Your stronger characters, I would say, always need something like this. Next up, we've got mind control. I am just looking down at this one because some of them have a lot more text in than others. So I want to read it out exactly how it is. So it says close range. So you could do this as a close action or a range action. Minimum range 6. Make a close range attack. Instead of normal damage, each hit character halves speed and becomes friendly to your force. And one at a time may in either order move and or attack, then it reverts forces. So basically you're taking control of them, you're mind controlling them so they're on your side. It is just for that action, so once that's done, it goes back to them. But mind control is a great way not only to attack, make your opponent attack each other, but also to disrupt their force. So you could make them hit each other, then you could have them move away. So, for example, they can't help each other next turn, they're not near each other, they can't use their powers to help each other. It's a brilliant ability and one that is heavily used in the metagame. It's such a powerful ability. So I would say this is one that you want to try and get used to. You want to read all the various combinations. I'm not going to go through everything you get with mind control, but the passive stuff like leap, climb, probability control, we'll get onto that in a different video. But it's not a free action. It's nothing, so you can use that. There's a ton of stuff that just apply now. Range combat, close combat, anything that applies and you don't have to activate, you can use on mind control. Next up, we've got Plasticity, which also did see a change. I don't know if it's for the better or the worse. It says that this character breaks away on a result except a 1. Adjacent opposing characters that can't use phasing teleport, Plasticity, leap climb, or hypersonic only break away on a 6. So basically, if you have none of those abilities, it's going to be very difficult to get away from Plasticity. So it does make it, although it was very similar to before, I think it's just lost its effectiveness against hypersonic. So I do think it is worse. But it does give you a chance to hold down characters and trap them to somewhere you probably don't mind that they hit, and then your big character can run around shooting them and stuff. So it is still effective. I just think it's slightly different, and I don't know if that's for the better. Next up, Force Blast. So it gives you knockback, which means they go back 3 squares. Power, minimum range 6. Knock back an opposing character within range and line of fire 3 squares away from this character. So if you don't know, it goes from the angle you're at. If the angle could be either way, you choose the direction. But this, again, it's something that just applies. So if you hit somebody with a charge and blades, Force Blast would activate as well, so you could still knock them back. It's worth noting, neither charge nor combat reflexes say can't be knocked back now. So it is slightly better in that there's nothing that's stopping it, but it also doesn't deal damage anymore and feels a little underwhelming. Sidestep, very easy one. Free action, move 2 squares or up to 2 squares. So you could move 1, you could move 0. I mean, you can do up to 2. So it's really up to you. Don't feel you have to do that. But it is useful trying to get away from characters, trying to move or close the gap between characters. Sidestep is very useful. Obviously, you don't take a token for a free action. You could slowly sidestep your way up the board. There's a lot of really cool uses for it. One of my favorite powers personally. Very happy they added the pink powers, as I do think all of them are really good, really cool powers. So yeah, Sidestep is no different. But then we get onto Hypersonic, which says power, half range. You can't carry anyone when you use Hypersonic anymore, which I think that's a good change because it did get confusing where they were whilst you were doing stuff. And then basically you can move past characters, move, then make an attack, then move up to your speed value, minus the number of squares you already moved. So basically you can use your whole speed value in total of that move, in total of the power. So you can move 5 and then hit and then move another 5. Really useful just to get in there and then get back out if you need to. Or you could potentially, let's say you've got 12 movement, you can move 12 across the board and slap them. So it is very helpful to get across the board. It's very helpful to escape. It's a very, very powerful power. In friendlies, it can be quite annoying just dipping around and dashing around, which you'll find out in our last Battle Royale, which is up on the channel if you want to check that out. Yeah, super cool power. One of the best movement powers. I would say charge and running shot beat it out now, just because of it used to be so much stronger. I mean, you can't carry stuff anymore. Can't pick up stuff with super strength. Yeah, they've made a few modifications, so it's not as powerful, but it's still very, very good. Now, stealth lets you hide your character, basically. So when it's not your turn, hindered line of fire drawn to this character by non-adjacent characters are blocked. So if you try and shoot somebody through hindering and they have stealth, or they're stood in hindering, then you won't be able to shoot them because line of fire is blocked. So it is a very useful power. It brings in stuff where you need stealth busters on your team. You need stuff that targets through hindering, which is why the improved abilities and stuff is so important. I will do an episode on improved abilities and just changes in general, sort of taking a look at pushing damage, taking a look at different symbols becoming obsolete and changes. But yeah, we'll focus on speed for this one as we are almost finished. As we've just got one power left, which is running shot, and that says power, half speed, move, and range is free. This is very similar to charge in that you can half your speed, then you can move, then you can make an attack. With charge, it is a close. With running shot, it's a ranged. So basically, you could move, and then you do get your full range in this. So it's important. In Hypersonic, you do have to half it. Running shot, you get your full range. So then you can combo that with powers like mind control or whatever you want to use. Pulse wave, energy explosion, penetrating psychic blast. Like I said, a lot of abilities do combo now. So the best thing you can do is learn the terminology and look at it yourself and say, this gives me this, so can I use this? It says I can do this, so yes. So if you know how close works, how range works, free works, what close attacks are, what range attacks are, learning that stuff, I would say, is more important than anything I could teach you here. And I do think they've made the game a lot easier to learn now. When I started, I enjoyed learning it, but it was a slog. It took very long to learn. But once you start to learn this stuff, you'll pick it up very easily. You'll learn the combinations, you'll learn the figures, the dials. It is helpful now you can see the back, so you can learn that way. I would say just go through these videos, learn the speed, learn the attack, defense, damage, introduce it every game, and then eventually you'll be playing with it all. And you won't really notice. You won't think, oh, I know all these powers now. It'll just sort of come naturally as you pick them up one by one. Obviously, the more you play, the more you see them, the more you'll get used to them. If this video has been any help to you, let me know in the comments below, because I love hearing, I've made a different rules video, and one of my favorite things is getting comments on that saying, you've helped me learn the game, how do I do this? I've just started playing, thank you for this video. Stuff like that, because the reason I make these videos is so new people will get into the game. So drop in the comments below if, you are new, if this video has helped, or if you're a veteran player and you've got other suggestions, other ideas and other things for new players which may help them out. That's all I've got for this episode. Thank you so much if you've made it to this point, and I will catch you in the next one.